Hey guys, Meltdown here, and I'm in my Zoom room. Normally I'm talking to rock stars or wrestlers or whoever, but today I have a rock star in her own right. Erika Erickson joins me. I mean, you got the shirt on, right? Rock stars never die.
I do. They live forever.
Yeah, that's right.
We live forever.
That's right. So it's when we were walking in, I'm like, I think we know some of the same people. And she's like, well, we're really cool, so we know a lot of the same people, which is true probably. So, but welcome to the Riff. Thank you so much for coming down.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I wanted to talk about your, of course, your time on TV, what you're doing now, and why you're not on TV anymore. But a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about, you've also mentioned on social media. So you're kind of open to talking about this stuff.
Yeah, I was kind of almost forced to at first, and then you kind of embrace it, right? Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say forced to, but people were kind of wondering where I was,
right.
and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to sit here holed up and I'm going to talk about it. One, because people were wondering, and two, why not talk about it and let people know what I'm experiencing, and maybe I can help others. And that is, it's still happening now.
Yeah, maybe be an inspiration to other people for sure.
Yeah.
So it was funny. I was driving down here today, and whenever somebody loses a job or gets off, they're taken off TV or radio or whatever, they always say a popular local personality. You were very popular, and people were like probably wondering what happened to you. So when did you officially come off the TV?
Well, it was difficult because I kept trying to stay on the air, even though I was actually basically almost passing out while I was at work and in doing interviews. And I kept trying to go to work, and my photographers would say, Erika, you don't look so great. So in January of 2021, I was in the hospital, and throughout that spring and summer, I was barely on the air at all. I think there was a few days here and there I had gone in, and I was trying to do stories. But yeah, from January to 2021 to I think June, those 6 months, I was only on the air for a few times.
Now put yourself back in there, because right before that, of course, I mean, we're talking right in the midst of the pandemic, right? So did that cross your mind that could have something to do with that, or was first of all, let's back up even a little bit more, because I can't pronounce exactly what you had going on. So why don't you let us in on that?
Well, at first, doctors were like, oh, you have migraines or TMJ. And I said, I've had migraines my whole life. This seems a little different. Mm-hmm. And my jaw doesn't really hurt. So I finally, it's kind of a long story. It's a very long story, but they figured out that they were cervicogenic headaches. So basically there were some nerves in my neck that they kind of come up and they go into your face, and they come around, they kind of wrap around. And I had nerve pain all through my face and my scalp. And
sometimes you couldn't even brush your hair.
Oh,
and you had all sorts of numbness.
I had numbness. It was going into my hands and into my feet. And they're all connected, all these nerves, and I had some really bizarre symptoms. I had this extreme vertigo, where I couldn't balance, and then I had inner ear issues. I had eye pain, and the nerve pain got so bad at one point where I remember I couldn't sleep was, that's an understatement. My head felt like it was on fire in the back, the sides of my face, and then the front of my face. I remember there was one spot right here that was like numb. So I would take my hand and I would just sleep like this on this one corner of my face for months and months at a time. And yeah, the back of my head, the nerves were so angry that, you know how nerve pain is. It's like fire, or it's zaps and things like that. So yeah, I had to cut all the back of my hair out because it got so knotted. I don't know if I had really talked about that, but that's just, as someone who was on TV and a woman, someone told me I had big hair today, and I said, I take that as a compliment. So I had to cut all the back of my hair out, and that was very emotional. And that was just one part of it where, okay, this is my life, and it's not just losing my hair or losing sleep. It was, I'm lying in bed and they don't know what's wrong with me. and this is getting real. I haven't been to work in months now, and it started getting real, really fast.
So you were going to doctors, I'm assuming, like quite a bit.
Yes.
And nobody could figure out what was going on, or it took a while for them to figure out?
It took a while. I did have one doctor, and she, I love her. I always name drop her. She works at the Mind Institute. Well, I call it's the Mind Clinic in Farmington Hills. And her name's Dr. Lauren Amen. She's a headache specialist. And she said, Erika, there's something else going on here. It's not just migraines. She's like, you're having migraines on top of what you're having. And she said, I think it's coming from your neck. So she referred me to Dr. Daniel Feldman, who now is at the Mind Clinic. And they did all these scans on my neck, and they figured out it was coming from my neck in a few different areas, but mainly at the top of my neck. And they went in and kind of did the nerve ablation, and they targeted certain nerves. I felt relief almost immediately.
Wow. Fast, huh?
It was like that.
And how long did you fight with this?
Probably 2 years. It was a gradual headache. I actually said to my photographer, I said, is it normal to have a headache every day?
Yeah, right.
So I have a headache every day. And he said, no, that's not normal, Erika. And I said, okay. It started getting worse. It was a dull headache kind of at the base of my neck. And then it started kind of feeling like it was on one side of my head, kind of like a migraine. But then it started going into my face, and then my eyes, and then my ears, and it just was every day. So I try to tell people, if you have a headache every day and it's kind of dull, or maybe every other day, or it's at the base of your neck, sometimes it's posture, and some people call it kind of tech neck. It's not normal. Don't just take ibuprofen, because that's what I was doing. And
I was going to say, yeah.
And that raised my blood pressure. Yes,
Okay.
It comes in those economy size packaging, but I was taking so much that it raised my blood pressure, and that I had mini strokes. I was in the hospital, and they tested me for cocaine. My blood pressure was so high.
I saw that.
It was negative. But it was insane. And you can't just put a Band-Aid on it every day, because you're just going to end up, I mean, I guess I was fighting for my life at one point.
Yeah. And then, of course, this happens during, like, obviously a terrible period in time where we're supposed to be in our houses and locked down. And, and so there's like that whole thing where like you're probably losing a lot of the human element or the connections with maybe people you had outside your house or whatever the case is. Does depression start to set in?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I'm sitting there eating Jell-O, and half my face goes numb, and I think I'm having another mini stroke or something, and I don't have any loved ones able to visit me, and or I'm bedbound, and I can't have my friends visit me. Mm-hmm. I'm just lying there. Yeah, it's to say that it was hard. I don't want to sit here and compare my story to anyone else, because I know that everyone is dealing with something. Mm-hmm. This is just something that I dealt with, and it made me realize that, okay, there are times that we have sadness throughout the day, but that experience for me made me realize that, okay, if I can get through a day, I can get through an hour. It helped me learn mindfulness, helped me learn to be grateful for certain things. Like, I remember one day I was just staring out the window, and there was just a bird, and I focused on the bird, and it helped me get through an hour of just pain. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to get through another hour. I'm just going to get through another hour. And depression is really scary, but yeah, I had to go to a loved one and say, I can't do this alone. I want to check out. And I felt really weak at the time saying that. But now I look back and I say, you know what? I was really strong for doing that, for admitting that I couldn't do this alone and that I needed help. I don't think that's weak at all.
Yeah.
I think letting people know that hey, I need support, and I can't do this by myself.
Yeah, and then now with the with social media and stuff, like if this would have happened like 20 or 30 years ago, you would have really been alone. But then you have social media, and you're kind of telling your story to people. Is that kind of just a little bit of therapy as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have people reach out probably a couple times a week, And I'm still referring people to my doctors because they have similar symptoms, or they're saying, I've tried Botox for migraines, or I've tried this medication, or is it migraines, or do you think it's cervicogenic headaches, or do you think it's tension headaches that I keep getting? I actually had a thunderclap headache. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. They're really scary. And I had one a couple months ago, and I hadn't had one since I was in the hospital. And those can be really scary too. They come on really suddenly and without really explanation. And it's a scary time when you don't know what's happening to your body, or doctors are kind of saying, well, I don't know what's going on. But when you have good doctors too, who are sitting by you and fighting for you, or you have a kind of a community or someone who at least is trying to understand, I mean, that's all that matters. It's scary when you don't know.
Well, in one of your posts, I think one of the videos I saw on your Facebook, you talked about the supports you were getting from not only people that you knew, but from people that you didn't know as well, right?
It's so comforting. I mean, people who didn't even know me reached out and just said, hey, we're pulling for you. People who didn't even know what was going on, they didn't even ask. They just said, whatever's going on, we're here for you. We're fighting for you. And that's what we are as humans. We're all the same when it gets down to it. We all hurt the same. We all cry the same. We all love the same. We all.
Now, through this experience, did you feel like that you had to like kind of reinvent yourself? And will you ever go back to TV?
What's funny is I almost feel like am I getting corny over here?
No, go ahead. Tell your story. That's why I brought you in here. I want to hear your story. I want you to share it with everybody.
I did this photo shoot with
I saw that, just a few weeks ago.
My friend Brad Ziegler, who's an amazing photographer, by the way. And I just wanted, refreshed headshots. And he said, let's just go all out. Come on, Erika, let's just go all out. And he called it Eras with Erika because it was sort of just showing this evolution and kind of getting my power back after when you have a health crisis, you feel so out of control. You feel like nothing's in your control because chronic pain and even, just mental, whatever it is that someone's dealing with that takes over your life, you feel like your life's out of your control, right? Well, I felt like I was getting some of my power back after I got my health back into some of my control. So I did this photo shoot, and I just feel like, yes, I sort of found myself for the first time. Is that strange? At my age, I know. Do you feel like the pre-health issues right now, or are you still kind of in there a little bit? I honestly I don't think I've ever felt better.
Okay, so you're kind of back to normal.
But I think it's mental, right? I think it's a mental thing. I think because I wake up every day and I'm not in pain and I can do things now. And just this morning I woke up and I don't have a headache today. I can move my neck. And I remember days where I could only move my eyes.
Wow. Well, I guess it's got to help you mentally when you know that you're going to wake up without pain. But when you know you're going to wake up with pain, that's probably good. That probably puts a pretty big burden.
Yeah, and you wake up not knowing there's no answer. And that's why I really feel for people out there who are struggling, whether it's mental or physical, or maybe they have a loved one who's going through something and they feel so helpless. I understand that. But sometimes you have to just change. You have to flip the script and you have to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to get through an hour. I'm going to get through the day. And that's what I keep doing with myself. Even if I wake up and I have a headache, I'm like, all right, this is just today. That doesn't mean tomorrow's going to be like this.
So you still do have them sometimes?
I still have them sometimes. Like I had a migraine that lasted 3 weeks.
You're just like 3 weeks. It's like, well, I don't want a migraine that lasts 3 weeks or 3 hours.
I'll take a migraine that lasts 3 weeks, and I'll go to the hospital, and they'll break it up, and we'll move on.
Okay.
Now it's isn't that crazy that's the bar now?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's kind of a weird bar, sure.
I know, right? But you did ask me about broadcasting. I love broadcasting. It's a first love for me, and I do miss it. But this is where I'm at right now, and I'm at Henry Ford Health doing PR. What a great team, by the way. And this is what's right for me right now, and that's kind of my attitude. Is I'm embracing every opportunity, and I'm open. I'm always, I don't know, man. This is like my attitude now. Hey.
So I'm assuming that you went to school for broadcasting, correct?
Yes, I went to Wayne State.
Unlike one of us in this conversation.
Oh.
But I don't even want to tell you how I got to where I am. But anyhow.
Now I'm curious.
No, that's it's a joke and a joke in poor taste that we're not going to use here on the program. But anyways, no. So you go to school for broadcasting, and I'm assuming that's what you felt like you had to do. When do you get out of bed one day and go, okay, I'm going to go find another job and do something different? What was that day like, or when did it kind of like tip over for you and say, okay, this is the day?
Well, see, that was, I left TV because of these health issues.
Right.
I couldn't do it. And I fought just tooth and nail. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But you know what? It was the right move. It's what I had to do. And you have to put your mental and physical health first. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that TV was just killing me by any means. I was killing myself.
But wait a second, you could have been shining shoes or doing anything else, and you still would have had to stop, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't do it.
I had to chill for a minute there.
Yeah.
I was grinding away. And that was another thing I realized too. I was probably overdoing it myself, and that was part of my personality. And hey, I'm sure you're guilty of that sometimes. We're all guilty of that sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
So we all need to find a little bit of a balance. Mental and physical health, if you don't have that in check, everything else is going to fall by the wayside.
And I'm assuming, having just met you today, but I follow you on socials, and I watch you on TV, of course, but I'm assuming you're a creative person. And where do you get your creative outlets now?
Oh, well, I'm an artistic person. I like to draw and paint. That's one of my favorite. I love to write.
You write very well, by the way. Your stories are fantastic.
Oh, thank you. So hey, come on.
My stories probably need a little bit of work, but
we like your stories.
Well, thank you.
I work on personal things that I write, and who knows, maybe I'll put something out. Does anyone want me to like put a book out there, maybe, or some kind of ridiculous screenplay? I don't know. We'll see. But honestly, I just love to write, and that's one of my creative outlets right now. Put stupid videos up. Honestly, if I can make somebody laugh, that makes me happy.
Do you miss any of the grind that TV afforded you? Do you? Yeah. Because people probably think that it's a lot of work, and it is a lot of work. And I told you my schedule today, which is a lot of work, but sometimes that's what drives me. That's what gets my day going. I got up this morning, I played hockey, I went home, did my stuff, and now I'm talking to you. I got another interview, I got my radio show, I got ghost hunt later.
I know, right? You and your ghost hunting. That is so fun, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I do, and it's exciting. But I also remember that I can work from home a few days a week. I can hang out and work on my laptop with my dogs sitting next to me and take calls that way. And, if I need to lie down for a minute, I mean, but again, I feel a lot better now, and I can run around, and it's great. So I just feel really lucky right now. I don't know. I'm cheesing. I'm smiling over here because I don't know how to, I'm just really a different person. And I know that sounds crazy that I would not change anything about what happened. None of the pain, cutting my hair out.
Yeah, in a way, it sounds like it may have opened up your eyes and given you a new chance.
I feel like I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
I get when people say you having a perspective on life and just being grateful for each day. I think I'm starting to get it in my old age.
Yeah, mighty old age, right? Are you still in contact with some of your coworkers at Fox 2?
Oh, they're like my family.
Yeah.
They're like my dysfunctional family. Yes, and they're just dear to me, and they're so good to me. I mean, there were a lot of tears shed when I left.
I was gonna say, how hard was that?
It was terrible. Yeah. It was terrible.
Yeah. And you just came to a moment where you're like, I just have to leave.
Yeah, we were talking, and I just couldn't report on the street and do what I was doing at the time. So again, who knows what the future holds? I don't know. Right now, I'm very happy with what I'm doing. And again, I'm always open to new opportunities and, where I'm at. And, I'm just open to everything.
Yeah. There's that old saying, I can't remember exactly, I'll paraphrase, but it's like sometimes, you see an example and sometimes you are the example, right? And you're the example right now and you're helping people, whether you know it or not. One of my friends plays in a rock band. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'll tell you later. But, he said, well, no, I'll tell you later. But he said, he put stuff out there on the internet to try to inspire other people on his physical fitness journey because he was in a really bad place. And if he could get out of it, then anyone else can too.
That's what I mean. Sometimes it takes, and often it does, unfortunately, as humans, for us to just really hit the worst times in our lives. And I hate that life happens that way to make a lot of us realize certain things. Mm-hmm. But again, it sounds so cliche, but it is a cliche for a reason. I wouldn't change anything about the way things happened over the last few years, as difficult as they were, because I see life so differently now. Mm-hmm. And I just appreciate so many things now. And I wake up and sometimes I just take a deep breath and I'm like, oh God, this is so, I feel things differently. I see things differently. And if I can help other people experience life the way that I am now, then I feel like that's what I'm meant to do.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to come in here, because it's like, like I said, I followed your story from afar and I used to watch you on TV, and all of a sudden one day you're just gone.
I know.
And, it was weird. It's like, wait a second, what's going on here? and then, I heard about the battles you were fighting and stuff, and I think that yours is a battle that needs to be shared with people, to tell other people, hey, you got chances out here. You could do the best with what you have and fight and keep digging.
Yes, and you don't have to be in pain every day. Mm-hmm. You don't have to just fight through it. And I know it's like, oh, I'm strong. That's what I told myself every day. I'm strong. I can do this. I'm different than everybody else. I can grind away. I can just take some ibuprofen and I'm good. No, you are not different than everybody else. You are not the exception. You will end up in the hospital and you will, no.
Well, you had something seriously wrong, but even people that aren't in your situation, whether they're maybe hooked on something or they've had a bad car accident or whatever, it's like, you wake up every day and it's a new day, another chance to start all over again.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And just because you had a bad day or a bad moment doesn't mean that's defining your life either. And I kept doing that too. I kept defining my day or my week or my year or my life by my past or by experiences. And the past, they're just stories we tell ourselves. And often they're not even accurate, are they? Half the time, the way we tell our past is exaggerations because we talk crap about ourselves. If we talk to ourselves the way we talk to our friends and our loved ones, we'd be a lot nicer to ourselves, wouldn't we?
You might be right. Yeah, for sure.
We're so mean to ourselves. Can we just be a little nicer? Can we talk to ourselves like we're our 3-year-old niece or daughter or son?
Well, mine are probably taller than me, so I don't do
that. See, look how mean you are to yourself.
Just teasing. Hey, what were some of your favorite stories that you did? What kind of stuff did you like to cover on the news?
Some of the stories I like to cover were really twisted. But some of the stories I like to cover were the sweetest feature stories. So if you want to know some of the twisted ones, that's fine. But, of course, I covered the, Bob Bashara and, that was crazy. And then some of...
Forgot about that, yeah.
The long trials and things like that. And the bankruptcy, things like that. But some of the feature stories, I had this was actually my last story, and another reporter had to put it together because I couldn't finish it. And he actually told me on air that it was this teenager. He was injured, and he told me in an interview that he didn't want to live anymore. And it broke my heart. And I wanted to finish the story so bad, and I couldn't. But of course, another reporter stepped in and did it, and he had his whole mouth. He needed new teeth, and he thought he was so ugly.
A teenager needs new teeth. That's crazy.
Handsome, sweet kid, and he was covering up his face, and because he had these scars, and he was in this accident, and he was like he had the most beautiful soul. He does. And this dentist stepped in, and they're like, we're going to fix him up. They fixed him up. And, it's just when you see someone step up for another human being that they don't know. And this young kid, I don't know, he stuck with me. Just people like that you meet. Those are the kinds of stories that I like.
Yeah, the good news stories. Before we came on here, I told you I was going to go do that ghost hunt, and your face just lit up. You're like, oh, my God. So
I love ghosts. Well, I don't love ghosts, but ghost hunting, and that just fascinates me. So real-life ghost hunters, are you serious? Are you kidding? Awesome.
Yeah, so, well, you might just have to make a trek down to Detroit with me tonight. But what other kind of stuff do you like?
Well, I like creepy stuff. Is that weird?
No.
I mean, I love psychological thrillers. I mean, this is another cliche. Yes, I'm a woman who likes serial killer documentaries and coffee and things like that.
You'd be surprised how many women are into the paranormal out there. I run across quite a few, yeah. It's
fascinating.
Yeah.
And when people say, well, I don't believe in ghosts, what do you say?
I ain't scared of no ghost.
Yeah,
I mean, there are people that are skeptical. A former Red Wing, I was just talking to him a couple weeks ago, and his wife is super into this stuff, and he's like, I don't know about that, but it's like, it's just fun. It's, it's interesting. I think that there's just a lot that people don't know, and that's kind of why I kind of get into it a little bit. Even with your life, when you were doing news story stuff, there's stuff people don't know. You're trying to bring out the stories to them.
Yeah, that was another really cool thing about reporting. You never know where you're going to end up, and every
day was different.
Every day was different, but I mean, one day I'd be either, rappelling from a building or in a hot air balloon or interviewing a detective who was hunting down someone, or a presidential candidate, or yes, every day was incredibly different.
That's what happens in my world too. It's like I may know a little bit more about what I'm going to do each day because I have it on my whiteboard, and some days change a little bit, but it's not the same thing every day.
I mean, you could have a ghost just creep up on you.
I could probably do an interview with one.
I would. See, I want to see that.
Yeah, I
expect that now.
Will, can you superimpose a ghost behind Erika when we're done? Okay,
that's a real ghost.
Post-production. So. Well, what do you got going on in the future? You're working, as you said, at that. Where were you working at? I'm
at Henry Ford.
Henry Ford, okay,
doing PR. Okay, awesome team over there. Shout out to Jeff Atkins, ghost hunter.
Yeah, my friend Jeff. Yeah, we might have to go see him tonight.
Yes, when I found out he was a ghost hunter, I'm like, dude, you do that for, like, I didn't know. I don't know real life ghost hunters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jeff's a great guy. Jeff and Todd, they do great work.
Well, shout out to the whole team, not just Jeff.
Okay,
the whole team.
Yeah, and so you're working there, and I mean, I think people might want to see you on TV again. I'm trying to push this on you, but it's like maybe like a weekend gig or something somewhere.
Well, I mean, I do some freelance PR stuff on the side too, but if people want to start a campaign to get me back on TV, I mean, that's fine.
You're not going to say no.
Just throw like a huge, salary on it. No.
A lot of zeros. Yeah.
Honestly, though, it's so fun, and I love chatting with people like you, and just it's a first love. If people like to hear me talk, I don't know, I'll keep doing it.
No, I think this is interesting and fascinating, and I can't say like how much respect I have for you, somebody that really had to fight and battle, and that's a lot of the reason why I wanted you to come on. I wanted you to tell your story, like I said before, and it's like. Maybe to uplift other people, but to tell people what you've been up to.
Oh, that's really sweet. And I know that there's just so many people out there. Again, my story is just one of many. And I just know there's so many, just considering the response I've gotten, it's a little sad that there's so many people who are dealing with this, But I also know that if I can get help for, what I got help, there's help for everyone else too.
Yeah. All right, well, I think we'll let you go. Get back in that hot rod car of yours. I know she's a wild one out there with that hot rod, busting around the motor. So you gonna put that thing away pretty soon, or what? Or do you drive it all winter?
I'm gonna drive it all winter, and I know people are gonna make fun of me. Yes, I drive a red Camaro, and I'm probably gonna get pulled over a lot, and I know I'm gonna be driving in the winter with that. I know it's terrible. I'm terrible. I've been in Michigan my whole life, and I drive a car that does not work in the winter.
Did you grow up here?
Yes.
Where at?
I grew up in Canton.
Oh, so that was really cool that you got to work on a TV station in your hometown.
I know, right? I grew up in Canton. I lived in Detroit for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in Traverse City, and then I came back and worked at Fox 2.
What was it like being on TV in your hometown where your parents could see you and all that stuff?
My mom she would DVR every single newscast. I'm not exaggerating.
Oh, I believe it.
And then my grandmother, they would discuss my outfits. You think I'm kidding?
No, I believe that too.
Okay.
My mother wanted me to be on a country radio station. That never happened.
I worked for WTCM.
Oh, where was that? Up in Traverse City?
Up in Traverse City.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a new appreciation for country music, and anyone wants to argue with me, let's chat.
I just bought the latest Hardy album on vinyl. So I'm a vinyl guy, and I love that record. I love Hardy. Are you familiar with Hardy?
No.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that.
Well, apparently I need to be schooled on this.
Right. Yeah. Hardy's the best. He just played with Morgan Wallen at the Ford Field back in August.
Wow.
Yeah. So big time.
Wow.
But my mother would work at the convenience store in the little one-horse town I grew up in, and all the correctional officers would come in, and she would say, "My son's on the radio."
See, I love that.
Yeah.
Our best fans are our mothers and fathers, right?
Yeah, for sure. And yours are still here and still around?
My mom's in Canton.
Yeah.
I was just over there.
Wow.
Yeah, hanging out.
Well, that's great. Well, I'm so happy to see you. Great to meet you as well. And thanks for dressing up for the gig today. Look at that. Rock stars never die. I love that.
Yes, that's right.
Erika Erickson, thank you so much. Good luck with everything. Keep us posted, okay?
Thank you.